The thoughts, ideas, and opinions you are about to hear are those of our guests and not necessarily those of the Beyond Expectation podcast. We reserve the right to take the creative liberty to tell our stories in the most entertaining way possible, so you are not advised to accept everything presented as fact.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the brand new episode of the Beyond Expectation podcast with two of your most favorite co-hosts in the entire world, my boy Brett, myself Eduardo. But today, we have a very special guest.
Yes.
Now, we've talked to many people from many walks of life. You know, this person made time out of her busy schedule to come here from the west side.
Yes.
Killa Cali, the state of the drive-by. We have not only Roxy Blanco in the building.
Oh, thank you guys very much. Applause.
Applause. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Thank you guys so much for having me here and accommodating me. This is, first of all, going to be one of many. I have been following you guys for, I think, realistically, a few months now, right? Because that's when we kind of reached out, and we could talk about that story.
For sure.
But I was drawn in, and I listened to about 10 podcasts. I'm a podcast girl, and we were talking about this earlier. I'm kind of selective with who I listen to because, let's just be honest, the podcast market is becoming oversaturated.
Yes.
Everyone with an opinion thinks that they can create a podcast. And I'd say there is a very small percentage of people who are actually successful. Kind of like rappers, right? Everybody wants to be a rapper, singer, famous dancer, whatever. But it's like you have to really have that talent and you have to really know your niche. And when I was watching your guys' episodes, I'm like, oh, I'm doing this shit. Like, I am going to get on that flight. I am going to go and I'm going to talk my fucking shit.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for having me here. I'm honored.
Sure.
I'm honored.
For sure. No, definitely. Just like I said, just taking the time to come out here and really chop it up with us and just, having a good time. Because, I mean, the podcast is really about just having a good conversation, but getting to know you as a person as well, right?
Yeah.
Because I know you have quite a bit of following and people want to know stuff about what you have going on and all that. But let's start from the very beginning. Every great story always has an amazing beginning. So, Roxy, tell us, okay, so if I were to ask you, how would you describe Roxy as a person and just describe yourself as?
Well, let's just say if I had to sum it up in one word, it'd be controversial.
Oh.
I know that there is an array of people who have followed me on social media. In this generation right now, it's all social media based entertainment.
Definitely.
And you think about it. I mean, even Amazon. Okay, let's just talk about some of the biggest corporations in America. How are they marketing to their target audience? It's through social media. Now, back in the day, it used to be radio, billboards, buses,
magazines,
commercials, magazines. That's dinosaur shit now.
It is.
Everything. I mean, even if you watch some of these TikTok reels and the ad placements, you get what I'm saying? The ad endorsements, it's all through kids and teenagers and young adults and athletes and people who are like subliminally co-signing things. So social media is playing a very big role in our economy, right?
Yep.
So I figured, you know what? When I grow up, I have to be something great. And it was always kind of like this, I don't know what it comes from. Some people call it arrogance. Some people call it confidence. But I also like to call it just being self-aware, right? I think everybody should kind of hone in on who they are as a person. What do you want out of life? What do you want to achieve? What don't you want to do? What don't you want to be involved with? And I think at the age of 20, I was very lost. And I think all of us can agree. Like, it's so funny because sometimes, and I'm sure you guys hear this, like, people are like, oh man, if I could be young again. And when people say that to me, I'm like, I would never want to be 20 years old in this generation.
Yeah.
I would hate to be a 20-year-old right now. And I'm not saying this to down the 20-year-old girls, because again, like, this podcast is for you too, because you're going to learn a lot of game from someone who's like me. I'm 37. I was born in 86. Gemini, May 25th. So shout out to all the Geminis. You're a Gemini too, right, Eddie? Okay. So, but with that being said, it's harder now, right? It's harder for these kids to figure out who they are and who they want to be because they're seeing these kids. And let's just be real. Some of these 7-year-olds in Los Angeles are making millions of dollars a month off of YouTube.
Yeah, true.
And that's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, in 1950s, 1960s, you would never see this happen. It was like unheard of, right? Even if they were like the biggest little country singer, they weren't making millions of dollars a year.
Right.
You know, because social media didn't exist. The internet didn't exist. But now it's it's like these parents are their managers, their agents, you know, owning their estate and everything like that. And they're able to profit off of their kid playing with dinosaurs and making sounds. And they're getting 2 million views in a week. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and it's brilliant. I mean, if anything, it's easier to make money now than it was back then.
Yes.
So I tell people, I'm like, look, money is everywhere, bro. Everywhere. It's just, you just have to take yourself out of your situation and really think about how you want to market it, you know? And I think sometimes as human beings, we complicate things more so than we should, you know? Because like, there's always these people in our lives, whether it's our grandparents, our friends, our family, our professors. They're like, no, it's hard. It's hard. So we're conditioned, right? At a young age to think life is hard. Getting money is hard. Having a career is hard. Getting an education is hard. No, the fuck it's not. Like, and this is where I kind of align with my Gemini partner, Yeezy, okay? And we're going to talk about Kanye because again, Gemini, right? He's crazy, right? And I get it. A lot of people have a lot of negative and a lot of positive to say about him. Yeah. That's the duality of being a twin. That's what they say. Like the Gemini is the sign of the twin. I believe we're air signs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, believe it or not, as much as I'm talking about the zodiacs, I don't know a whole lot about them. And the reason why is because part of it, I believe, is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But then there is an element to it too, right?
When it fits, it fits.
When it fits, it fits and it sticks, you know? So it's like, him, for example, if you guys want to lead with that, because I can say some things. I don't know if you guys saw the headlines recently, which just like leaked, 2 days ago, all over the blogs, right, Brad? They were talking about him coining or trademarking the word use.
Use, yeah.
Right. And I mean, I'm going to ask you guys now, what are your thoughts on that? And do you guys know about what was going on with that?
I just heard about it within the interwebs because they were talking about he was coming out with another album, or he's working on a new album with Ty Dolla $ign. So that was kind of an abbreviation for the new album. But obviously, use has a resemblance to another word out there, right? That's kind of what the first thing.
The connotation would be Jews.
Yes, exactly. So that would be kind of the reference to that. So that's kind of how I caught wind of it within the interwebs on X, aka Twitter. But that's kind of how I caught wind of it, really. Just through social media, of course.
Yeah.
We're talking about that. So yeah.
And I mean, for you,
I've never even heard of it. No.
Oh, so you didn't even hear about this?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So maybe we can have Brad pull up the article. But like the headline is that he trademarked, I think, multiple uses for licensing to have it under his name, copywritten. I could be wrong. This is why we're going to have him research it. But for people who know the background story of what's going on with Kanye West, is that there has been controversy with him amongst the Jewish community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, this could be allegedly, because I'm not speaking on facts, like I know him or his attorneys, but it's kind of pretty well known, you know, on the blogs and Vlad TV, all these other different companies who are talking about the controversy of him getting into it with these corporate leaders, and not only that, but record label execs. And living in, I think he passed you the phone. Yeah. So I don't know if you want. Do you want to read it?
Oh, go ahead. You're gonna know more about this.
Okay. Let me just.
You're on a roll. Go on.
So the headline, and this is according to BusinessInsider.com, says Kanye West law firm filed 26 requests with the California court to trademark the term "use." It's like I'm going to put the phone on silent. So it's YEWS. The applicant is seeking exclusive rights to the term in sectors like finance and fashion. Its similarity to the word use, or which is Jews, will likely cause controversy given the rapper's past anti-Semitic comments. Now, this is the type of stuff that I wanted to talk about with people finding themselves in life. When you want to go about creating something for yourself, you have to know who you are getting in business with. Mm-hmm. And you have to know who you're getting in bed with, because it's the same thing. We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
When you do a business deal with someone, it's like a marriage, okay? Yep. You have to know the type of person that you're aligning with, their morals, what they're willing to do for money, what they're willing not to do for money, their true character, how they act out of anger. And I think as much as I love Kanye West, and honestly cannot wait to work with him. I just pray that whatever he has going on right now, he's leading it in a positive sense. Because what I will not do on record is speak down on him. This is somebody who has publicly come out talking about his battles with mental health, which is something that we're going to touch on, right?
For sure, for sure.
And I can say here on this public platform that I've definitely dealt with some mental health issues.
Yeah.
I think all of America does, right?
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Whether it's anxiety, PTSD, anger issues, bipolar, schizophrenia, there's just an array of different illnesses that even are being created. ADHD, like people didn't even know about this shit like 30 years ago. You know, so there's these new diagnoses that are like coming out, and illnesses and diseases, and some of them can't be blood sampled. It's not like you can like go and get tested and like, oh yeah, for sure,
ADHD or whatever.
or yep, you're bipolar. You know,
Right.
I've been tested for that. The doctor's like, well, technically there is no real test results that we can blood test you, Roxy. So we don't really know what you have, but your anger issues, your PTSD, your severe anxiety, these could all be key components of a mental illness that you have, but we don't even know exactly what it is.
Right.
So according to my psychiatrists and psychologists and the fleet of doctors that I have at Kaiser, shout out to Kaiser, there's other things about Kaiser too that I'm not so happy about, but we don't have to talk about that here legally. But as far as my psychiatrist, who I love at Kaiser, I'm not going to drop his name, but thank you, because he's been an advocate for me. He's like, you know what, knowing your history with trauma, it's hard for me to say that you have this diagnosis because you've been through a lot. You have been through a lot, Roxy, and I'm reading your files, and I'm amazed that you are so resilient. You're resilient against this, because a lot of women become suicidal. A lot of women take pills. A lot of women get into addiction, alcoholism, prostitution, literally cut themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like there's all these things that women, you know, teenagers, young girls, young adults, older women are still facing with, right, till this day. And I think it's becoming even more prevalent at a younger age. Like I'm hearing and reading articles about 8-year-olds committing suicide.
Kids are, well, that's the other part about social media. These kids are exposed to so much more
At a
than
young
we
age, too.
were
Yeah.
before social media.
Yeah, and so that's one question right off rib. Like, what keeps Roxy well grounded? What keeps you, balanced? I guess you can say from all this that's going on.
First and foremost, God.
Okay.
Let me put that first. And I'm not going to be blasphemous, right? I'm not going to say, and I don't want to mention names, but certain people like to use God in a way to where it almost makes themselves not human, right? Like they're superhuman. And I'm never going to be like, I'm a God. Because I think that's kind of like when you have that complex, that they call it the godlike complex.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be like that. I say I'm human. Okay.
Yep.
God is the only reason why I'm still existing and why I'm able to have the wherewithal to deal with the shit that I deal with. Right. But I also think a lot of it has to do with your moral character and values. Right. I think we are in an age and time where a lot of women my age, you know, in their 30s, 20s, late teens, we don't really use a lot of common sense, especially when it comes to dating, marriage, kids, finance,
What do you mean
careers.
what do you mean by?
You ask. I mean, ask
Like,
the topic. Seriously.
Well, like when you say not use common sense, what are you talking about? Like,
Okay, so if you want to talk about dating, we can go there first.
Yeah.
Because I have a
Dating,
lot of
let's
shit
go.
to say about
Let's
women.
go. Fire it off.
And again, this is not aiming at any particular group of women or age or race, because I'm going to speak in general terms. Because I mean, I was once 17. I was once 22. 25. I went to college. I've gotten in the workforce. I've worked for corporate. I've worked for restaurants. I've worked for bars. So I kind of have all these walks of life where I can relate to a lot of different women, right? And a lot of people don't know this, but I'm of Mexican descent, but I also have a great grandmother on my father's side who's 100% black. And people trip out. They're like, you're not black. I'm like, well, aesthetically, no. But in my DNA report, yes. And if you look at my great grandma, she's a dark-skinned black woman from Mexico. And a lot of people don't know the history about slave ships landing not only in North America along the East Coast, Central America, South America. If you look along the coastline, all of them are dark, like a lot of them are dark-skinned with curly hair. That's the African influence in these cultures. So, so I kind of have like this ambiguous culture inside of me where I have the European, I have the Native American, the Mexican, which is basically basically a hybrid of being native and European. And then I have the black culture in me too.
Yeah.
And then believe it or not, I have some Asian, like some Southeast Asian in me. Like I looked at my 23andMe. So it's like, I kind of speak for all women, you know, and I represent all women in a sense. Cause it's like, you know, and the more.
Even if you didn't.
Even if I didn't, right?
Yes.
Why should it matter? But at the end of the day, I'm a woman, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I try to come at women where I'm like, look, I'm on your side. Yeah. And when I speak to you, look at me as your best friend who kind of just has a no holds bar type of opinion. Like I don't worry about the repercussions of how you're going to feel. And maybe that's something I need to work on because I can admit my character flaws, but I'm that friend that you need in your corner because I'm going to tell you when you're going wrong. Mm-hmm. And I've lost friendships because of that. You know, a lot of women don't want to hear the truth. They don't.
Right. And they like sugar-coated.
And that's how a lot of these women have all these friends. Like, I don't trust women who have 50 friends. Like, if everybody is your best friend, if everybody is your girl or your sis or your cuz, like, I know sometimes like on Instagram, I like throw that word out like, hey sis, hey cuz, hey prima, whatever. But it's like, I don't really think you're my sis and like will pick me up or bail me out of jail one night. You know, it's like, it's just a general term. But when you really call someone your best friend or like your homegirl, you really got to make sure that's like your girl that you can have a serious conversation with. Yeah. And as women, we should be able to have conversations with each other without feeling like it's competitive, without feeling like you're tearing me down or being a hater. Cause like I've literally lost a friendship because this girl, and I'm not going to name names again. I'm not trying to implicate anyone or put anyone down, but it's like, she was so set on her looks. And it was like, the more surgery she got, the more like attention she craved and she needed and like followers and social media. And she would like tell me, she's like, honestly, like, I don't know what this is, but I just can't get over like I think it's called body dysmorphia. Mm-hmm. Like when a woman or even men have it, right? Mm-hmm. It's like no matter how much you lose or you gain or like whether it's muscle mass that you want as a man, the six pack, or if you want like a whittled down waist as a woman and big hips and big thighs, like a lot of this plays onto social media, right? Like we are constantly scrolling. And we're looking at everybody living their best life. Everyone looking fit. Everyone having money. Everyone on their, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so is that what you're talking about
right?
with the lack of common sense, right?
Yeah. Okay. So back to exactly. That's not reality, right? Yeah. And you would think as common sense, like, hey, this is just social media. It's just like a big show. Like, look at it as entertainment. A lot of these women internalize this shit. Yeah. Like, I've literally had conversations with her. She's like, I want a guy to buy me a Birkin bag. And I'm like, that's not normal. Yeah. And it's become normalized, right? Yeah. And we're conditioned by our music, right? Like we were talking about stuff like the City Girls, who I love, by the way. I absolutely love their music. Doja Cat, all these girls, Saweetie. Like I love all these artists. But it's just entertainment. Like they're not saying literally go out and fuck these NBA players for a Birkin bag or a Chanel bag. And for some people who don't know what Birkin bags are, some of them start at like $30,000 for a crocodile bag, and or maybe even more. Yeah. I mean, I know Floyd Mayweather. He owns like almost every single one of the collection. And he buys all his girls the bags. So, he publicly speaks about this.
And you know, the thing is it's not just women who are impacted by all this. Men are impacted by this too, because men want the women. So they're like, well, shit, if I got to buy a woman this, what do I have to do
to get to that level, right?
It's all a power exchange. Yeah. There's a power exchange, and a lot of people don't get that. Uh-huh. Now, one thing that we all have to realize, whether male, female, and again, I'm not trying to down any other genders, non-binary. I'm all about the LGBTQ plus community. Yeah. One of my best friends is a beautiful transgender, and I'm very proud of her. I love her, so I will never speak bad on any type of community. But let's just be real. There is a trade-off for everything in life. That is. Whenever a woman's like, oh my God, this guy's going to fly me out and he's going to take me shopping. I'm like, okay, well, what does he want? No, girl, he's just going to do it for me. I'm like, no. Yeah. There's a trade-off, baby girl. He's
me being a guy, I know.
Yeah, exactly. And he might be playing the long. Yeah, he might be playing the long game. Like, no, I just want to get to know you, and you're so beautiful. Let's just spend time. No, because when it comes down to it, and you get off that flight, and you go to that Airbnb or you go to that hotel, trust and believe, there's going to be some expectations. Yeah. And I guarantee you're not going to have your own room. Yeah. And there are women who are true hustlers, and we're going to talk about this later, because me and Eddie had a conversation about me in my earlier years about how I used to, be a hustler. But it's very like that small 3% that can actually really hustle. For sure. But majority of the time, it's like, if you're giving a guy the idea of your body and you're sending him sexy pictures, you're alluding to something that could possibly happen. You're leading him on.
Yeah.
And by him spending a $500 bill on you at dinner, by him sending you a $300 bouquet of roses. Again, I'm speaking on women I know because they've sent me pictures of the receipt. Like, girl, he just spent $530 on our dinner. And I'm like, wow. And then they're like complaining to me, girl, he won't stop texting me. Oh, he's so annoying. I'm like, well, he just spent $500 on you. What do you think he's going to fucking want? Like, he wants to get the pussy.
Pay to play.
You have to pay to play, right? Yep. And I'm like, why don't you just tell him you're not interested? Well, no, like, I want to go out to this other restaurant. I'm like, so basically what you're understanding now is you're signing up for this. Don't complain about something that you know what it is.
You pretty much got yourself into it.
Yeah, right? You got yourself into this, but then you don't have you shouldn't have the right to complain. Either take it for what it is, give him the pussy or whatever, or just cut him off. But if you lead, and it blew up in her face, trust and believe, like he called her out, said all types of terrible things about her, and she was showing me this text, and I'm just like, God damn, well, it was deserved. Yeah. She's like, really? You're going to take his side? I'm like, well, you knew what you were signing up for.
It's like you're going to know the outcome. You're pretty much, it's obvious, right? You're going to know the outcome. It's like, why are you surprised?
And don't be a victim to it.
Yeah,
but to hear that from a female's perspective, any man can say that,
dude, yeah.
Right?
But to hear it from a female's perspective, that's almost where it needs to be heard.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of women don't want me talking about this because they don't want to face the mirror. Yeah. A lot of women I've done this, right? I've done this like where I wasn't using a guy for free meals because I've never been broke like that. Like, I mean, I've been broke, but not to the point where I'm just gonna be like, oh, let me call John Doe and see if he can pay for all of us to go to dinner tonight. Because girls do that. They literally have some guys in their phone under Dwayne free meals. And the guys that doesn't even know that, and it's like, it's sad, but it's true. And sometimes these men are also volunteers. They're not victims. They know that they are being shoveled for money, right? Yeah. And they're just like, dude, she's just so hot. And maybe one day, I have a really good friend of mine who took for over $80,000 from a woman.
Wow.
Military. He was, and I'm going to be honest, and I don't think he follows my social media because I haven't heard from him in years, but I wouldn't, and again, I'm not going to say his name, but he was telling me how he married this very beautiful woman who was out of his league. Like, he couldn't even believe he got her. And he was a little bit too honest with her about all the perks about being a married man in the military. He was like, oh, I'm going to get this, and they're going to give me this. And then he went to do like two tours in Iraq or Afghanistan. So he was giving all the money to her, sending it to America, right? Making sure all the deposits. It racked up to like $80,000 that they had in their savings. By the time he came back, not only was she gone, the house was empty, but the bank account was cleared out. He wasn't even able to file for divorce because he couldn't find her.
Wow.
Okay. Now, if that's not dirty, okay, I'm just like, yo. But at the same time, it's like, he's like, I knew she didn't love me, but I was just thinking that if I kept depositing the money, if I can keep her in the nice house, if I can give her whatever she wants, he's like, so I'm not even really mad at her. He's like, I'm mad at myself.
And so that's where, so you're speaking on the female end of it. From the male end of it, I talk to guys all the time that the red flags are there.
Oh,
like when you
in your face. So my dude, you got to understand, and like your instincts talk to you. Oh yeah.
You know it. Listen to those instincts, and it's hard for a lot of men to take action on those instincts because they don't want to look like an idiot. They don't want to look like an idiot. One thing though, before we get too far, before we start talking about why you are the way you are now, right?
Okay.
I want to go back to what made you this.
Yeah, exactly.
Man.
I mean, because you talked about, the trauma and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I also have been through some trauma, so I'm going to relate to a lot of what you're going to say. Maybe not directly, but very close. And so I want to hear what are those building blocks that have made you what you are today, and then we'll go into
what shaped my character.
Yes.
What molded you pretty much.
What has molded Roxy Blanco, aka Roxanne Sabella Esparza, aka Roxy Sabella. I have different monikers. I have to give the internet because people are going to be like, "Why are you using the Blanco name?" And that's been brought to me by Colombians in my DMs.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Oh yeah, and again, I don't know who they're tied to. They're not claiming they're a part of anything, but they're like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, that was just kind of like a moniker." Which, if people don't know what that is, like just a name, like a slang that people give you, just because it sounds cool or it fits your personality.
Yeah.
But
like Nas Escobar.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of, in a way, the way I look at Griselda Blanco, for example, and I'll name her in the most best way possible because I respect the Blanco family. I have read up, I have read articles, I have done research, I've watched documentaries, I've done the YouTubes, and I see what that woman went through, and she went through hell. Okay, and the sake of taking care of her family, right? She was a mother, I believe, of 3 children. I know that Michael is still alive, and all respect to him and his mother's legacy. I want to see nothing but great things happen for the Blanco estate and family. I believe that they really should be put up there as legendary status because his mother really made a lot of things happen in the cocaine industry.
You might even want to say, you know, for the people that don't know the Blancos, anything like what?
Oh, so Griselda Blanco is one of the most notorious, I should say, Colombian cartel leaders in history that we know of. Again, there's people who have done some major things that have never gotten caught, and their names have never been mentioned, and they're probably still running operations today. But she was found dead. I don't remember what year it was, but it was, I think, after she's been in prison and all these things. And from what I read, and again, this is allegedly in the article, was that they never found her killer.
Yeah.
She was just laid out, and one of her sons, from what I read in the article, again, I can't speak on facts. These are just things that I've come across. I think it was the older son or the middle son. He has never been found. They believe he's in Colombia hiding out or somewhere. And Michael's like the one who's pioneering, like keeping the family name strong. Yeah. And I've watched him and supported him on the Cartel Crew, which I believe was aired on VH1. Yeah. And I love it. Like I'm all support. Like I support and I'm all for anyone who's really come from the struggle. Right. Yeah. And I feel like when I was posting all my stuff, so one of the avenues of ways that I made money was, starting at the age of 19 in the cannabis industry. That's kind of like when I got my first hands into things and like learned about the game. And when I kind of moved up with my career with that and getting heavily involved, people are like, yo, you're like the Griselda Blanco of cannabis. And I was like, nah, like just laughing, LOL. And like I had a couple of different guys that would always chime in my comment section being like, okay, Roxy Blanco, we see you, like just cheering me up. So I was like, I kept getting deleted on Instagram. By the way, this is my 14th Instagram page, you guys. I know we're going to do another drop later, but my Instagram page is Roxy Blanco _official, but it might be deleted, in the next week or so, just because there's a lot of people who just don't like me. And again, but this is the beauty. This is the beauty of it. Whenever you guys knock down my page, I have about 4 or 5 other accounts that still exist that not a lot of people know about. So it's like I just kind of like let like my troops go to the other pages. So it's like I'm not down for long, and then they repost me. So it's like you can try to keep burning down my bridges, but my empires are constantly being built. Yeah. So and I always tell people you can't take down a real one. That's what I was gonna say. You can't. You can't, because people want to champion and want to root for someone who's telling the truth. And I'm a truth teller. But there's a flip to that, right? When you're a truth teller, and we had to talk about this, right? Like sometimes you become a target. Yep. So you have to watch out about who you speak about, what you say, who you're dealing with, because you never know. Like I tell people, I'm like, as much shit as I've talked on the internet, as much truth telling as I've done, that doesn't make me immune from being at a Target parking lot one night and getting shot in the head and my body being thrown in a van. Like that's the reality of some shit. Yeah. And I tell
that does not happen.
Definitely won't want that happen.
Yeah. And thank you. And I always tell people I lead my life with faith, not fear. Yeah. God's got me. At the end of the day, whoever has an intention of hurting me, they're not going to have to face the consequences of me or my family. They're gonna face God. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people, I'm like, that's the one motherfucker you don't play with. Yeah. And I shouldn't have said that, but it's true. It's the truth. Like you don't mess with God, and in the court of law, in life, with your family, with money, God watches everything. So I tell people, I'm like, you have to understand, whether you don't believe in God or you do, there's always a higher power that really kind of masters the universe. Yep. So, and I tell people who are, Buddhist, whatever, Muslim, whatever religion, Jewish, we all know that there's a higher power that we have to submit to. Yeah. So I tell people, I'm like, if you really have core morals and values, you're going to understand that anything that you do in life, whether it's good or bad, it circles back around. It circles back around,
It's like karma, right? It's going to come back to you one another, right?
Exactly. And I tell people, I'm like, I think karma started from like the Indian culture. That's where it was originated from, karma. So, I tell people, I'm like, karma is a real thing.
It is.
And just be careful how you play with people. And I always try to say, the way I have gotten from my career and the businesses that I've started, which we're going to talk about next, One of them, which allegedly is worth $500 million. I have no financial ties into that. And legally, I can't really speak about that.
Okay.
But there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. A lot of heavy duty people who are either trying to work with me or work against me. So that's why I'm kind of I'm treading lightly around this topic, because I'm not trying to bring anybody down. Let's just say that.
And we won't press you on anything like that.
No.
We're just trying to get a picture. We're trying to paint a picture for the viewers of what made you who you are. Like,
there
are things that happen.
There was definitely a lot of things that happen, and what we can do is talk about me, right?
Yeah.
And I have all the right to talk about things that I've experienced from my point of view.
Yeah,
I'm not going to speak on what other people did or said or names or brands, even though I could, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Again, we're treading lightly. But I've been through some shit. I mean, you guys name it. Some things are going to be so heavy that I can't even say the words, but I'll allude to it. Okay. But I mean, every woman's worst nightmare. We could lead with that, and I'm not talking about death, but things that women face in silence all the time, whether it's at work, a relative, a dirty uncle, at a daycare. You just never know, right?
I get goosebumps because I know what you're talking about.
And if you have a daughter or a sister or a niece or a mother or a cousin or an aunt, you can just imagine the sick feeling from that.
Yep.
So that's been one thing that I've had to go through a couple times, and and luckily I could say that's the worst because I'm alive. I tell people I've had 3 attempts on my life, and I'm talking guns to my face, one time, one in my mouth, and I can't even speak about who did it because at the end of the day I have to protect them, and and I have to because. You believe it or not, and I can't even say who it was, but it was out of love for me. They're like, look, if you keep going about shit this way, I'll kill you my fucking self, Roxy. I'm doing this for your fucking protection. And I'm like, and mind you, this is in Spanish. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm like, and my Spanish is very broken. I tell people I'm 3rd generation Mexican, right? So I understand Spanish, but I speak it very broken. So I'm like kind of ashamed that I don't know it as well as I should. And I don't know. Do you speak Spanish?
2nd generation. Sí, un poquito.
Okay. Exactly. Okay. Entiendo, pero hablo muy poquito.
Hey,
that's what I always tell people,
good.
Right?
Hey.
So, I mean, and it's true. I have a lot of people in my life, whether it's friends, family, people who I consider family, who really want to see me thrive. Mm-hmm. They want to see me live. And if I'm moving recklessly on social media, if I'm moving recklessly just in the streets, if I'm moving recklessly in corporations, multi-million-dollar operations, there's a way about going things and doing things right. Yeah. And I don't do things right, and I think that's part of my demise, but part of my genius, right? Yeah. Let's bring it back to like the whole bipolar or Gemini, like that we have this dynamic character and duality where we can create and do powerful, amazing things, but we also can be our own demise. Yeah. Like as much as we like to banter, right? And talk about Kanye West. Yes, he is so incredibly talented and genius and marketable, but then it's like, there comes the other side of Kanye where it's like, oh no, Kanye, why would you say this? Why would you wear that hat? Yeah. Why would you co-sign with this person? Why would you talk about this group of people? It's like, it's scary.
Do you think that part of the situation with Kanye is because he has too many yes men on his team?
That's exactly what I think it is.
And I think, and also you've touched bases on this as well, where, it's also dependent on the people that you have around you, right? Because if you have a supportive circle, and this goes for all of us too, because you always have those people that definitely look out for your best interests that are trying to protect you.
Yes.
It's kind of like the situation when we talk about Pac and his situation, right?
Right.
If it weren't for the people that you had around him that night in Vegas, I think he still would have been here today. Right. So it's so dependent on the people that you have around you, your inner circle. Yes. And that's just, I've always believed that, because there's people going to always be, like you said, yes men, or there's people that are going to be around you that are going to be supportive of you and be like, yo man, we should probably just kick back on this.
We should
all
just,
that,
that's
right?
my question to Roxy Blanco is, do you have those people in your circle that are gonna harness you in when...
Let me cut you off.
Yeah.
One of them was the person who put the gun to my mouth, and I'm talking an AK-47. And they had their finger. And if anybody knows anything about like semi-automatic guns, fully like heavy, like military style artillery,
I
like
think
weapons.
All of us have one.
Okay, Glocks, whatever. I mean, you have to understand that when people punk you or try to like put fear into you for a good reason, that means they love you that fucking much.
Wow.
You know, they want to see you do so well that they're going to be willing to scare the fuck out of you and threaten to chop you up and bury you somewhere if you fucking keep acting like this. And I needed that. I needed that wake up call. I needed that to be like, fuck, if I keep doing this, I'm going to get killed, and not by the ops, by my own people, you know? And I wish, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I wish that happened to any of these other artists and legendary people who passed away, but sometimes we need those people in our lives. We need people who are not going to call the cops on us and not try to put us in prison, but better yet, put us in a position where like, look, you're powerful, you're talented, you're beautiful, you're ambitious. The world is fucking yours, but just don't be acting like this, girl. Like stop. And like, I needed that. And I feel like I try to be that person to other females, to other women. And sometimes it backfires on me because they're like, girl, I don't have time for your negativity. And they hang up in my face. And I'm like, girl, I'm just trying to look out for you. And then they circle back.
They have no idea.
They do, and then they circle back around a month later. Girl, you were right. He was garbage. I should have left him alone. This and that. I went about things wrong. I'm sorry. Do you forgive me? And I'm a compassionate person. I'm like, girl, I forgive you. I know you were all sprung off the dick and you wanted to believe
Your
this.
wisdom.
It's the wisdom, right? You know, like the wisdom element. So it's like, I just try to be that person for others that I needed. You know, and the people that have been there for me. And I come from the Bay. Okay, let's just get this started. The Yay area. And I have nothing but love for some of the most legendary artists. I'm talking E40, San Quinn, Too Short, Tupac. Okay, these are all people in my eyes who are like the cream of the crop. Ray Love, Mac Dre, Thiz Nation, Jay Stalin, Richie Rich, Spice One, okay, JT the Bigger Figure, Keek the Sneak, who I've worked with. Like, I mean, a lot of these men to me are nothing. First of all, the ones that I have worked with and like on set, music videos, in the studio, have never ever been nothing but professional to me. And it kills me when I see women being like, oh, you know, she's probably getting fucked. She's probably sucking dick to be there. And I'm just like, you have to understand that as a woman, if you carry yourself a certain way in front of men, they're going to respect you a certain way.
That's what it is, right?
You have to lead with your intellect, with your business sense. You have to take yourself seriously. If you walk into a video shoot with your titties out and bending over and flirting and giggling and not having a conversation of substance, men are gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna fuck her tonight. You know, and it's the truth because you're leading with that, right? You're leading with your sexual. Exactly. But if you walk into a room, look what I'm wearing, right? I had this whole getup where I was gonna wear this sexy conservative outfit with my gold chain out and all my jewelry and all this shit and high heels. But I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, I want people to see the real me, and this is how I dress at home, right? Like I'm comfortable. We're casual, comfy cash. Like I love it, you know. So, but I tell women, I'm like, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to take yourself seriously. And I try to give women dating advice because I know that there's a lot of blogs, and I'm sure you guys follow them, that talk about dating, right? Dating, sex, relationships, finances.
I've been married for 9 years, so I haven't followed a dating blog.
You're out of the dating pool.
We're out of the market. Me and Brett we're retired. You know
and don't worry, the dating pool in your 30s has piss in it. So and baby diarrhea and algae and black mold and puke, okay? And tampons that are dirty. Like I'm telling you, the dating pool is fucking atrocious. Ladies, if you find a great man in your 20s, keep him by any means necessary. Grow with this man.
Like my man Eddie says, bars.
Okay, let's all co-sign that. Bars. Well, it's true. A lot of women starting at, let's just say, fresh out of college or even in college, right? They're going about dating the wrong way, and I'll tell you why. Okay, and this might need to be a highlight reel.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
A lot of women pretend like they're not looking for love. They pretend like they want something casual. Oh, let's just fuck. Let's just have fun. I won't get any feelings attached. And I'm sure some men in this room, because we had a conversation earlier talking about that. And it's funny to me because I'm like, ladies, say what you mean and mean what you say. Okay? Be honest with him. If you have a great night with a guy and you're having a vibe and you're getting drunk, be honest with him. Be like, look, I'm not looking just to be a hookup girl. I really kind of do want something real. And say, actually, I do want something real. Like if you're looking for a one night stand, then don't waste your dinner on me. I'll pay for myself. I've actually said that to men. I said that to men. I'm like, look, I'm not looking for anything. If you want to hang out with me, I'll pay for my meal. You pay for yours. I'm like, no, I insist. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. And then when the bill came, I ended up paying for the whole thing because I felt bad for them because they were like talking about taking me on trips and doing these things. And I'm like, no, you're the homie. They're like, I don't want to be your homie. I'm like, well, then I guess we can't be friends because what I'm not going to do is keep hanging out with you for free meals.
Yeah.
A lot of women will, I've seen it. I have friends who do it, and it's like, to me, it doesn't make sense because it's like you're wasting his time and you're wasting your time. Like, where is it going to take you? And we were talking about this earlier. I'm like, some women just don't go about things the right way. And then they complain, right? They're like, oh, all these men ain't shit. I'm like, all the men, okay, go ahead.
Where are these girls getting this advice, though? Getting these ideas from? They're getting these ideas from somewhere.
Yeah, it's got to come from somewhere, right?
Media, music, social media.
So you're saying that social media is lying to them?
I think social media is entertainment.
Yeah.
And a lot of women translate that to reality. They see women on yachts in Miami. They see women front courtside of basketball games. They see women holding Chanel bags. They see women on Rodeo Drive and brand new cars. Half of these social media influencers that you guys see and follow are escorts, first and foremost. Let me tell you something. I live in LA. I'm a 15-minute drive from Hollywood. And I've had the best of them. I'm talking the females of Hollywood follow me and try to link up with me and hang out with me. And I see how they move and I'm like, so what do you do, girl? Like I try to have casual conversation in the DM. Oh, girl, I had this group of women. And I'm not going to say no names. They try to recruit me to be a part of a ring. Now, if you know what a ring is, this is some heavy shit because people get killed over this. Yeah. I'm going to tell you. There was a documentary that just got released, I think, on Hulu or HBO about the ring. So do you remember the story that came out with Paris Hilton and all these other celebrities that got their homes robbed?
Yes, I heard about it.
Okay, you heard about it. It was called The Bling Ring. Look it up. I think it's on HBO, right, Brad? Yeah, The Bling Ring. So it's a very famous story that this group of people hit up all these, they purposely, strategically targeted all of these wealthy celebrities, and they would be able to get into their homes because they either partied with them before and knew the access codes or the back doors in or whatever. And what they would do is they would follow their social media and say, oh, I'm going to be in France DJing or working this event. So they know they're going to be in France for a week. They're like, let's hit up Paris's house. Let's hit up so-and-so's house. Let's hit up this house. Because people snitch on themselves all the time on social media. I always tell people, be careful what you post on social media.
Very true.
Because if you're going to be hosting an event in another country, they're going to know your home's empty for a week unless you have 24-hour security, which you'd be surprised by how many people don't have 24-hour security because they can't afford it. It's expensive.
Right.
Some people don't know this, but when you are worth a lot of money and you need real security, it's $10,000 a day. I know because I've worked with these people who I've seen them pay their security guards cash.
Wow.
And I'm like, how much do you pay your security guards? Like $10,000 a day. And I seen it. I'm like, oh God damn.
So if you ain't paying the $10K,
pays the
and
cost
you're out
to
of
be
the
the boss,
country,
you know what I'm
your
saying?
house is up for grabs.
And get this, when they don't pay their security, guess who robs them?
Security.
It's an ugly game, baby.
Yeah.
It's an ugly game.
That's crazy. Yeah.
You either pay to play or don't pay and get played.
Wow.
Either way, you feel me? Like, so it's
That
like,
is
I might as well invest the money so I can for sure have all my shit. If not, I got some cousins who will I know your access codes, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like, it's dirty, and you have to remember, we're in a shitty economy.
Yeah.
People are desperate. I have a homie from Vallejo, and shout out to my boy FaZe because he's been rapping for years, and I want to see him on top. He was shot in the face. He lost his eye over $80.
No.
In Vallejo. True story. He, I think he was at a parking lot. Some dudes ran up on him, run me your wallet, had a gun in their hand, and he was like rolling down the window or something like that, or like
rolling down.
Yeah. He was right, like came from like humble beginning. He didn't have money.
Right.
So I think he was like rolling down his window or something. He was telling me, grabbing his wallet, and they thought he was grabbing a Glock. They shot him first, grabbed the wallet, ran off. He had to go to the fucking hospital. He had to call 911. Next thing you know, they had to remove his eye and like sew it shut.
First clue
That's
to the
insane.
shooter should have been that he was rolling down.
Yeah, that he doesn't have the fucking money. But when people are desperate or they're on drugs, they're not really premeditating this shit. They're like, look, I have babies to feed. I have a drug fix that I need. I have my mama screaming at me. She can't pay rent. I'm just going to get the first person I see. You get what I'm saying? That's how bad the economy is. Like, especially in the hood. Again, he's from Vallejo, and there's certain parts of Vallejo you know not to drive through. You know, so he lost his eye over 80. He's like, Rox, all I had was $80.
Maybe we could talk to him sometime in the future to get that story.
If he can find me again, I've been deleted 14 times, and so he was one of my first pages that he would follow me on. Faze, if you see me, please DM me. Throw a bunch of flags. I'll make sure to open it up because I get like hundreds of DMs.
Yeah,
a day.
we want to hear that story.
Yeah, it's a crazy story, but I mean that's just one of many people. I know someone who was just telling me they got stabbed for $5. Was that one of you guys telling me the story?
No,
not you guys saying you guys got stabbed, but somebody was just telling me, they're like, yeah, my homie got stabbed for $5. I'm like, bro, gas is $7 in LA.
That's crazy. That wouldn't give you full gas, a full tank of gas on that. Hell no.
You know,
dude.
but
you're right though.
The streets is hungry. I tell people, I'm like, so be careful with what you put on social media.
Yep.
You know,
One rule that we have with my family is anytime we go on vacation, anything, no posting anything until we get
back.
Yeah.
That's so smart. Oh, and to a lot of people, especially if you're in the business world or have a lot of assets, always get renter's insurance. I'm talking about for your home, for your apartment. I just recently had a home invasion after July 13th when I was locked up for 6 days. And we don't really have to go into super detail about that. But I was set up. Whoever was behind it, again, legally, I can't speak on it.
Sure.
Legally, we don't know. But I know it was a lick. It was a setup. And I ran from the cops and and all this shit happened. And my boyfriend was chasing me in his car, like, get the fuck in the car. And I'm like, no, they're gonna get me. And legally, I can't speak why I ran, but this, that, and the third. And the estimated value, and I'm talking about everything from cash, jewelry, designer bags, and my inventory. And remember, I also do multiple businesses. So I have like a jewelry company, a candle company. When you buy these crates of jewelry from Brazil, from Spain, when you get these candles are expensive as fuck.
Okay.
You go to Target, they're like $16 fucking dollars.
They're pretty expensive.
16. That's not including tax in California. So you're paying like $19 for a candle this fucking size. I had crates of candles. So I'm buying them by the boxes. When I tell you, I came home to an apartment that was completely flipped up. Even my cushions on my couch were ripped apart, and like everything was gone. Over $65,000 cash. Wow. My life savings.
No.
And I told the IRS, I said, look, I was looking to pay you guys a lump sum. I owe y'all some money. I'm on a payment program, so me and the IRS are good. Shout out to the IRS and my homies over at Tax Right.
Uncle
Sam, yeah, listen, I pay my
agents.
taxes. Roxy's good with that and Navient. Okay, so I always tell people, I'm like, make sure that you have insurance. If I didn't have my insurance policy, I probably wouldn't be here right now. I'll be honest with you. You know, like, and again, I mean,
Real talk.
And this is the sad part. I'll be real with you guys. My insurance policy told me that they can only reimburse me $1,500 of the cash that was stolen.
No.
I can't even tell. Well, actually, I don't know if I can legally can, but the amount of the check, I haven't even gotten the check yet. Let me just be real with you, because I have still more things to claim, and and they even stole my receipts. They sold everything.
No.
Oh, yeah. So I have to call Apple. I had a $2,700 MacBook, a hard drive. I had all this software that's like hundreds of dollars, like Pro Tools, Logic, just you name it, like After Effects, Illustrator, all this shit that you spend a lot of money, right? Investing into your laptop, your software programs, all of that taken, right? And I have to prove and find the receipts. Well, I have like 7 fucking emails. So I have to find out which company. And you know how they say, do you want email texted or printed or whatever? Yeah. I would, normally either do print or email. So I have to like find where my Apple Watch, my AirBuds, everything was stolen. Passport, driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, everything. Every piece of my identity was stolen that fucking day. This was the lick of all licks in LA.
Wow.
The lick of all licks.
Are you on credit monitoring or identity theft monitoring?
I'm going to be 100 with you. My credit score has dropped over 200 points in the last 3 months because they have opened up 5 credit cards and maxed them out in my name. And I'm currently making payments on credit cards that I have not even charged up just to maintain my credit score from dropping even more. Again, I open up fraud claims on all of them, but the way the banking systems have it is that you're responsible for the first 90 days until they can open their investigation and finally close it.
We are dealing with the same thing in our family. My wife's identity got stolen, and that's part of the stress that's been going on in my life. Is someone from another state got her identity somehow, and just went wild with it, and now we're
It's easier than you think. It's easier than you think. And I'm not saying like in a good way. Like it's so sad that some people's 9 to 5s are scamming all day.
Yeah.
They literally dig through dumpsters. A lot of people just like, oh, there's another credit card application. I can get a $10,000 credit line. Let me just throw it away. Don't throw your shit away. Get a shredder.
Right.
Yeah.
Get a shredder because what people do is they will literally grab that and they can make some phone calls. Hey, this is so and so from this. We need your birthday and and the last for your social security and getting your information is so easy.
Any Amazon order, anything I get in the mail that I get, any packaging, I always shred or I burn any type of identifiable
you should
piece of information.
And always make sure that your email too is like 2-factored. Right, because they were able to hack my iCloud and empty out everything.
Okay.
When I tell you I had millions of dollars worth of things that I can't even legally speak about, that was just burned basically because I don't even have access to it anymore. It's like starting my life from scratch. All my footage, all my videos, all the screenshots, every legal document. I mean, this was a setup.
Yeah.
Who set me up? I can't legally speak about it because I technically I don't even know.
Wow.
They ripped apart my cameras in my house. Like the wires were ripped off. So once they ripped it off, they were able to get access because I had this notebook. I'm such a fucking idiot too. I can admit when I'm wrong. I had a notebook that had all of my emails with the login passwords. So they were able to.
So
they took that too.
Okay? So I outside looking in, right? I don't know anything about your situation. It sounds like it's either a professional robber or inside stuff. It's
got to be inside. Sure.
I don't want to.
Or a combination of both. Again, allegedly. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
It could be a bum off the street. It could be
someone that knows what to look for, though. I mean, that's what it looks like.
I had classified information.
Okay.
I could just say that was a briefcase that was stolen. And it was life altering for many people.
Wow.
And why would that be stolen?
Yeah.
And it was like in like a box that like didn't really even like, it looked like a folder box, but they knew to take all of my like financial or classified information. Some of it even had classified information stamped on it.
It's like a shiny, obvious thing, right?
And it had red arrows with a neon light that said classified information. No, it didn't. But seriously, that's how dumb I was. But it's like you learn things in life, and those are the things that mold you, right? That we're talking about my character, my resilience. Like if I could take like I said, it was over $115,000 worth of shit.
That is insane.
When I really total all of it up. When I told you I took that loss, some people would be on drugs right now. Like getting drunk every day, popping pills to numb the pain.
Out, right?
Stressed out, sucking dick on the streets. Like a lot of, I'm serious. Like a lot of women will do desperate things.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this guy so I can pay my rent this month. And I get it. Like I get it. Do what you gotta do, girl. But like the way I look at it, it's like, okay, I literally was stripped from everything. I can't sell my jewelry because all my crates of jewelry that I invested thousands and thousands of dollars worth, all my candles, everything else. I'm like, I'm gonna have to start from scratch.
So that alone, right? Let's just say with all that taken into account, do you think that really just burned and set a fire for you to be like, fuck this. This is just going to make me go harder, 5 times harder than before. And, I'm going to get back up there where I was.
Exactly.
If it wasn't for your ambition.
Yeah.
It wasn't for my ambition.
What set you apart, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you're right. A lot of people, like, sorry to cut you off, but a lot of people definitely would find themselves in that tough position and probably steer away into possibly doing drugs, possibly doing other shit just to get back to where they were before all that stuff transpired,
that
right? So definitely, for your motivation, it's so dope to see that, the fact that you're gonna grind it out and find your way getting back up there by doing whatever it means on the legal standpoint to get back up there, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it was like, I was angry. I definitely ranted and raved on social media for a hot minute. And I was talking a lot of shit. None of it's up. My page, again, that main page was deleted. And that was a blessing in disguise. Yeah. I was mad because I had so much compelling content and stories and footage I could show. It's all been taken down. And again, that's a setup too. Yeah. But who did it? I can't finger point. Sure. I don't have the person on camera reporting it repeatedly. Like I don't know who was in charge of it. So it could have been anybody. Yeah. But a lot of people want me silenced. And I could change a lot of lives. But I have looked at it like I have to let go of the anger. I have to let go of the resentment of whoever it is. Because there's a few people that I'm angry with. It's not just a certain individual. A lot of people are like, oh, you're after this person. I'm not after nobody. I'm angry at some people. I'm more so hurt. Let me tell you this. I'm hurt because some of the things that I did, and I'm talking risking my body, risking my sanity, risking my safety, risking my freedom. I'm talking penitentiary time, okay? And the feds, okay? And people don't understand, like, when you really take these sacrifices, again, whether it's voluntarily or you're manipulated into it, you want to believe that these people are going to do the same for you. That they're gonna look out for you in the end, you know? Like when one person makes it, we're all gonna make it. We're all gonna eat. We're all gonna, you know, like whoever started the podcast first, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That you guys are gonna all take it to the top. You're not gonna be like cutting off one, you know, two of the three of you and being like, fuck you, I'm gonna be, you know, the Joe Budden. And again, I love Joe Budden, so no shame to him. But it's like, you know, things with him and Mal and Rory fell apart. And I love listening to both podcasts. So shout out to, you know, both podcasts. They're both doing phenomenal. But I mean, when it comes to big business, things transpire. It's just inevitable. That's just the fucking game.
Yeah.
And it's just how you handle it, right?
Yeah.
Rory and Mal could have just been like, oh, fuck it. I guess we'll just figure something else. No, they took the ball and they fucking ran with it in a different direction. Yeah. And they're doing great too, right? Like they have their platform. They have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of viewers. I'm proud of them, you know? And that just goes to show you that you can't sit down and be like,
And it's always so tough too, though, right? Like you said, because when you get to that certain level of success, it is truly difficult to find people that are willing to, you know, like you said, if I'm going to make it, all three of us are going to make it totally, right?
Right.
So you always have to take a chance and really believe in these people, right? To find yourself in those situations, like I know this person and this person won't backstab me, won't screw me over for whatever, because at the end of the day, money will change a lot of thought. When that money's presented to you and we see those dollar amounts, that will be the true testament for people like, is this person going to flip on me or are they going to keep it real since day one? And I mean, for me, it's just like, I just hope if I win, that'll be your win and that'll be your win. You know, because that's just the type of person I am. I mean, just, I'm speaking from my, you know, me being as a person.
Let me interject.
Yeah.
Money doesn't change people. It just amplifies who they really were to begin with.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's something that's very thought provoking, because at the end of the day, a fool is going to be a fool, right? And you give a fool some money, he's going to be even more foolish.
Yeah.
You know,
I've seen it.
and you know, sometimes some of your homies, you know, talk slick and have a lot of game and this and that, but they really ain't that person they pretend to be. They're really not. And you might be a real genuine person, you know? But then when the money comes into play, it's like their foolery is amplified.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then they get more glorified. And then there's the smoke and mirrors. I'm a this and that, and I'm the GOAT and all this other shit. And it's like people buy the bullshit by the bags, by the pounds. Like I tell people, I'm like, it's so funny to me how some of like people's favorite celebrities, artists, producers, directors, they're full of shit. They're full of shit. And the way that they were able to establish this executive level was just smoke and mirrors and bullshitting their way to the top. Yeah. They just happen to be smart enough to have the business to fucking get it done.
And the people.
And the people, the minions, okay? Yeah. People are pawns every day. Yeah. People get played every day, B. Like, that's what they say, you know, like, paid in full.
A classic movie.
And so it's like, I tell people, I'm like, look, like, sometimes you have to like really sit back and analyze who's your tribe. Right? Like who are you really working with?
So we've talked a lot about the trauma and all the things that built you up. Now, I want to talk about, we've been through all that, right? Now you're making some wins. You're doing some things.
Oh, Roxy got a few deals on the table. Yeah. Now I can't say anything has I can't say too much.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop myself because a lot of things are emotion.
Okay.
With that being said, God is good. All the time. and it's funny because I go to an all black church, right? And I purposely, I could have gone to a Spanish church to enhance my Spanish. I could have gone to a traditional white Christian church, but I was like, I need to go to a church with soul. And I love my Pastor David. Shout out to Pastor David Asher. He's the man. And honestly, I was able to get baptized shortly after my home invasion. Yeah. After my lockup, I was able to like redeem my soul. And I felt like a brand new me came out.
Wow.
No, don't get me twisted. I still dance with the demons sometimes. Like I'm not perfect. If you guys look at my Instagram, I'm not making the most righteous choices.
Yeah.
I'm not a role model for women across America, let alone young girls. To all the young women who are 20 and 25, don't follow what I do. Okay, listen to what I say, but don't follow what I do because I'm not a role model right now. I created a company. Or I should say, I'm in the midst of creating a company, and I can't really speak too much about it. But if you follow my social media, and I'm going to drop the handles again, Roxy Blanco _official, and also follow the Hope Dealer LA on Instagram. You'll see what I'm doing. And I'm making some good money. You know, there's certain days where I'm pulling $500 a day. There's other days where I'm making $2,000 a day.
Yeah.
You know, and
A day.
Yeah, but it's what I want. It's not an everyday thing. I'm not making 20 bands a month because I don't have time. Again, I'm working on some production deals, which I can't really speak about right now.
Okay.
And I'm praying that everything just goes seamlessly. So it's like I can only do what I can do when I have time. And I work 10 to 14 hour days.
That's crazy.
I tell people, I'm like, yo, like, if you really want to go hard, I'm not saying don't be team no sleep, team no eat, team no take your medications, because, you know, some of you have medications you should be on. I'm saying take care of yourself first, but make sure you handle business. Like, and like that old saying goes, we all have the same 24 hours. A lot of people just glaze over that comment. That's a real thing, you know? So people are like, oh, I don't have time. Da, da, da. I'm like, girl, you just told me you binge watched Breaking Bad again.
Yeah.
Okay, that was how many hours of your life that you just sat on the couch eating pizza, dipping it in ranch, and you were like not thinking about your business plans. You were not investing.
Scrolling on the social media in the meantime.
That's the number one thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
People don't even realize how many hours, including myself. But I tell myself, if I'm going to be on social media, I'm marketing, I'm networking, and I'm making money.
It's a tool.
It's a fucking tool.
Yeah.
So going back, sorry to cut you off. Going back to what you were saying, right? You were telling the young girls, don't do what I do, everything you see on social media. But I think it's the mere fact that I just have a feeling what people are drawn to you is that you keep it real. Like to some years, it's like it's so unfiltered. But the mere fact that you're keeping it real and you speak your mind on how it is, I think we miss a lot of that through social media, especially social media, because you say it's a fallacy in some point, because some people post only what people want to see, or what they want to put out is people what they're going to see, but they don't show the other end of stuff, you know, because you talk about how you had days where you don't make money at all, or you're doing this, and that. And that's keeping it real. Other people can't do that. They have to just show the good stuff on social media, right?
Let me interject you.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. First of all, people don't know, and I think we have to take a quick break in a few minutes. So let's keep this in 2 minutes.
Definitely.
But let me just say something really quick before we go for break. Not only was my home invaded with things that I purchased, but things that had been given to me on a layaway. That's what I could say. I still owe $25,000 to other business owners who fronted me product.
Yeah.
And I have been making weekly payments to these vendors just to stay afloat, because they have families.
Yeah,
they
for
have
sure.
mortgages.
It's a chain,
They
yeah.
have kids. So when you do business, and before we go, you have to understand your word is bond. People will not do business with you if you say, yo, I got robbed, I got locked up, I had to pay my... The sob stories don't work in business. Excuses suck.
Yeah.
And I hate that term. They're all like assholes, they stink or whatever. You know, but it's like, it's the truth. Like, you have to understand that your word has to be impeccable.
Yeah.
And if you read the book, The 48 Laws of Power, which is where we're going to leave this off at, I highly suggest that you get that, but also get the Holy Bible too. But we're going to take a break, you guys, really
Definitely.
quick, because I
Okay.
definitely have to go pee.
So we're going to take a break and we'll be back.